It begins quietly, not in your thoughts, not in your chest, but somewhere deeper, low in your belly where no light reaches, where warmth and stillness hold each other close. Something is always awake. Inside you is a world within a world. A secret forest, invisible and alive. A place where trillions of tiny beings live, eat, multiply, and die. They do not speak in voices, but they communicate in chemicals, in gentle nudges and ancient instincts. You call them microbes. They are bacteria, viruses, fungi, and others, but not the kind that makes you sick. These are your allies. They make up your microbiome, a vast, delicate, living web of life that lives within your gut. And they are part of you, though they are not you. They are older than your bones. Microbes shaped life on Earth long before humans took their first breath. And now, inside your body, they continue shaping you in ways you are only just beginning to understand. This place, your gut, is not empty. It is not just a tube or a tunnel. It is a garden. Not one you planted, but one you inherited. You have carried it your whole life, though perhaps you have never truly noticed it. The bubbling sounds after you eat, the hollow feeling when you are nervous, the comfort of a warm meal. These are not just digestion. They are dialogue. Your microbes are not passive. They are busy every moment, breaking down food, creating vitamins, sending messages through your bloodstream, teaching your immune system who to trust, and even shaping how you feel. Imagine them as gardeners tending to your soil. They prune what is harmful. They nourish what is helpful. They respond to stress, to diet, to sleep, to things you might not even notice yourself. And they are uniquely yours. No one in the world has the exact same microbiome you do. It is as personal as a fingerprint, as intimate as a memory. You might picture them as tiny stars glowing in the night of your belly, or as threads weaving through the lining of your gut, invisible yet essential. They live mostly in the large intestine, where food has already been chewed, churned, and stripped of nutrients. What remains, fiber, starch, plant matter, becomes their feast, and in return, they make things you cannot make yourself. They ferment fibers into short-chain fatty acids, soothing compounds that calm inflammation. They help make neurotransmitters, like serotonin, a molecule that brings calm to your mind. But they do not just affect the body. They influence mood, memory, and clarity. They shape your emotions in ways so subtle that you feel them before you think them. Their world is moist, warm, and dark. They live on a shifting surface, clinging to your gut lining like moss on a riverbank, steady and ever-flowing. And though they are not conscious, they act in harmony with one another, a chorus, not a chaos. If one group grows too loud, others step in to restore the rhythm. When you are healthy, this inner garden is lush and diverse. Hundreds of species coexist in balance, like a rainforest full of quiet cooperation. But if balance is lost, through stress, antibiotics, diet, or illness, then this garden withers. Some microbes vanish, others take over, and the whispers become noise. Your body listens closely. It responds with signals, a change in digestion, a rise in inflammation, a subtle shift in mood. You are not just the host. You are the habitat. You are not simply the gardener. You are the garden itself. And though these beings are small, they make you more whole. They teach your immune system what is friend and what is foe. They help seal the delicate lining of your intestines, a barrier between what enters and what stays out. You do not need to remember all their names. You only need to remember their presence. They are with you now, working while you rest, thriving in the warmth of your stillness. Each breath you take, each gentle heartbeat, is echoed in their own slow rhythm. They do not rush. They do not sleep. They simply continue, an ancient symphony beneath your skin. And in that awareness, there is comfort. You are not alone in your healing. You are not alone in your silence. As you settle into your breath tonight, You may feel something stir, not loudly, but like leaves brushing together in windless air. That is them. Your microbial companions, your invisible neighbors. They have always been there, even when you did not know to look. And now, as your eyes close and your body softens, you begin to wonder, where did they come from? How did this ancient partnership begin? What story brought them to you? On the day you were born? You arrive in the world not as a blank slate, but as a beginning with a past woven into you. When your body first meets air, you are already becoming a host, a garden waiting for seeds. As you pass through the birth canal, your skin, your mouth, your eyes are coated with your mother's microbes. These are her ancient travelers, whispering to your body that this is the world now, and you are part of it. This moment is not loud. It is not something you remember, but it is your first introduction to the outside world. And it comes not through words, but through living cells. You swallow these microbes. They settle into your gut like new settlers in an open land. They begin to multiply, not hurriedly, but steadily, rhythmically, in tune with your breath, your warmth, your heartbeat. If you were born by cesarean, the journey is different. Your first microbes come from the air, from the skin of nurses, from touch. A different beginning, but still a beginning. And then there is milk. Mother's milk is not just food. It is a message. It contains sugars that you cannot digest, but your microbes can. They feed on these sugars, like bees drinking nectar. This is not accidental. Your mother's body knows. She is feeding them to feed you. The bacteria most nourished by this milk are bifidobacteria, ancient allies of infancy. They grow strong, coating your gut with calm, crowding out anything dangerous, sending signals to your immune cells that say, this is safe, this is home. With every suckle, you are shaping your own ecosystem. And with every smile, every kiss on the forehead, microbes move from one skin to another, bridging the gap between beings. You are born of connection, and so is your microbiome. By the time you are 1 year old, your inner world is changing. Solid food arrives like a seasonal shift, and with it, new species bloom. More diverse, more complex. Your gut begins to look less like an infant's, and more like a miniature jungle. Fats, fibers, proteins, each brings a different invitation. Each shapes the types of microbes that call you home. What you feed them feeds who you become. They respond to your life. Crawling, mouth on toys, hands in dirt. You meet new bacteria every day. Some stay, some pass through, but all leave messages, like footprints on soft ground. By 3 years old, your microbiome settles. Its shape becomes more stable, its patterns more familiar. It is still yours, unique, shifting, but now with a rhythm that is recognizably you. The early years are everything. Your body is listening. It is learning what to trust, what to fight, what to let grow. Your microbes are helping write those lessons. They train your immune system like wise teachers, not with force, but with presence. A well-balanced microbiome says, this is normal. This is safe. This does not need a war. But what if the garden never gets planted? What if antibiotics come too soon, wiping out settlers before they can take root? What if milk is missed? Touch is limited. Diversity is low? Then the balance wobbles. Weeds may grow, walls may thin, and the immune system may become confused. Not because of failure, but because of a lost opportunity to learn. Yet nature is forgiving. It tries again and again. Through food, through touch, through environment, microbes find their way back. Even now, you are still in conversation with the world. You breathe it in, you eat it, you share space with it, and each moment brings new encounters, new whispers to the garden within. It is humbling to realize that your body has never truly been alone. From the first breath, you have been a home, a harbor, a quiet sanctuary. for the oldest forms of life on Earth. Tonight, as you lie still, you carry that story inside you, not as memory, but as presence. Your body is built on relationships you never chose, but which chose you gently, invisibly from the very start. And as you drift deeper, a new question begins to form. If these microbes are not just residents, but architects of your growth, what else are they shaping? Inside your body and inside your mind? Your body feels like one thing, a single shape, a single voice, but it is not. It is a symphony of cells and signals, an agreement between flesh and memory, between what was born from you and what lives beside you. Your microbes are not silent passengers. They are builders, engineers, whisperers of biology. They shape the body you move through the world with, even when you are unaware. Begin with your gut wall, a delicate, complex lining, only a single cell thick in places, yet it holds back a sea of foreign matter. This wall does not stand alone. It is supported by your microbes, who strengthen it, patch tiny breaches, and protect its borders like quiet sentinels. When your gut barrier is strong, you absorb nutrients smoothly. Your immune cells stay calm, watchful but not alarmed. But when this wall is weakened, uninvited guests may slip through. Bacteria fragments, undigested food, silent sparks of inflammation. It is your microbes who often prevent this. They form a kind of living carpet along the gut lining, crowding out danger and signaling the immune system. With the wisdom of 1,000 generations, your immune cells listen. They gather in great numbers along the gut, more than anywhere else in the body. They are stationed there because it is the edge of you, the place where the outside world meets the inner world. And your microbes are the translators. They show your immune system what to tolerate and what to attack. They introduce new proteins softly so that your body learns to say, "This is not a threat." They keep peace. They build tolerance. And in doing so, they help prevent storms of confusion, autoimmune flares, allergies, chronic inflammation. Without them, your immune system may turn paranoid. Without them, it sometimes forgets what self even means. Even your metabolism dances to their tune. Some microbes extract more calories from food. Others help you feel full sooner. Still others influence insulin, the hormone that keeps sugar in balance. They are not controlling you, but they are informing you. When you crave certain foods, it may not be just your tongue. Some cravings begin in your gut, where bacteria sends signals upward, via nerves, hormones, and chemical messengers. It sounds like science fiction, but it is biology, and it is yours. Your gut is home to thousands of microbial species. Each plays a different role. Some break down fiber, some train T cells, some even produce vitamins like B12 and K2, which your own body cannot make alone. Without these microscopic chemists, you would be missing essential tools for survival. They are your co-pilots, unseen but steady, and they do not ask much. Mostly they ask for balance, for fiber, for rest, for space to do the work they have always done. Even the rhythm of your digestion, the slow wave-like contractions that move food along, is shaped in part by them. When their world is calm, your gut flows smoothly. When their world is disturbed, you may feel tightness, bloating, or sudden unease. And beyond the gut, they affect your skin, your lungs, your brain. They teach your entire system how to be less reactive, how to be more resilient, how to heal. Imagine them as wise old villagers, gathered in the square of your belly, passing notes to your immune cells, repairing fences, calming disputes. You might not hear them, but your body does. There are times when this harmony is disrupted. Antibiotics, sometimes life-saving, can also wipe out entire colonies. Processed foods can starve them of nutrients. Stress can change the chemistry of their world. And when these changes occur, the messages they send shift. The balance tilts. Sometimes subtly, sometimes suddenly. This is not failure. It is a call to tend the garden again, to feed it what it needs, to listen to the rhythms within. What helps? Diversity. A wide variety of plant foods. Fermented foods, like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, introduce friendly bacteria. Prebiotics, fibers found in garlic, onions, oats, nourish the ones already living inside you. But beyond food, it is lifestyle. Sunlight, movement, laughter. These too affect your microbes, because their world mirrors your own. When you are well, they are well. When you find peace, so do they. You are a walking ecosystem, a delicate agreement between host and guest. And the boundary between the two is not sharp. It is soft, porous, shared. Even your genes are not entirely yours. Microbes carry DNA too, and their genes outnumber yours by hundreds to one. Some scientists call this the second genome. It adds flexibility, adaptability, a way for your body to do things it otherwise could not. So who are you then? You are not just human cells. You are also microbial. You are not an individual organism. You are a community, a city of life wrapped in skin and thought. This idea may feel strange, but it is not frightening. It is grounding, because you are never truly alone, not even inside yourself. Tonight, as you lie still in the quiet, your microbes are still working, strengthening walls, calming signals, watching over the spaces you cannot see. And as you rest, you may begin to feel a different kind of wonder. If they help build the body you call home, what do they say to the brain that thinks those thoughts? There is a kind of quiet intelligence, nestled deep within your belly. It does not think in words or ideas. It does not speak in language, but it feels, and it knows. This is your enteric nervous system, a vast network of over 100 million neurons, woven through the lining of your gut. So complex, so self-sufficient, scientists sometimes call it the second brain. It stretches from your esophagus all the way through your stomach and intestines, guiding the movement of food, orchestrating secretions, coordinating immune responses. It does all this without asking your conscious mind for permission. It is not a lesser brain. It is an older one, tighter, deeper, closer to the rhythms of the body than to the chatter of thought. It senses when you are hungry, not just from emptiness, but from patterns in hormones, pressure, even from signals whispered by your microbes. It notices stress before you do. It tightens. It slows. Sometimes it aches. Have you ever felt your stomach drop before hearing bad news? Felt butterflies flutter before standing in a room full of strangers? These are not metaphors. They are real messages, traveling from your second brain to the one in your skull. The vagus nerve is the bridge, a thick, winding cable that carries signals between belly and brain. But here is the surprising part. Most of the information flows upward, from gut to brain, not the other way around. Your gut speaks, and your brain listens. And your microbes? They are part of the conversation. They produce neurotransmitters, molecules like dopamine, GABA, serotonin, that influence mood, alertness, calm. Some of these messages stay local. Others travel across membranes, into the bloodstream, up the vagus nerve, into the folds of the mind. It is not a linear chain of command. It is more like music. Gut-brain microbes, instruments playing together, listening to one another, adjusting tempo, tension, and tone. This gut-brain dialogue is not always peaceful. When the gut is inflamed, the brain may feel anxious. When the brain is stressed, the gut may become unsettled. They reflect each other, shadow each other, mirror and magnify. But when balance is restored, so is harmony. That is why rest matters. Not just for your mind, but for your belly. Because the gut is not passive. It is alive with sensation, with memory, with its own slow awareness. Some scientists believe that this enteric system evolved long before the complex brains of mammals. Before thought, before language, there was feeling, and feeling lived in the gut. This second brain does not dream, but it does respond to rhythm, to mealtimes, to patterns of sleep and waking, to routines that soothe the nervous system. With predictability and care, your microbes tune into this rhythm too. They flourish when meals are steady, when nights are quiet, when stress does not roar. Together, your gut and its microbial guests form a kind of inner weather, sometimes clear, sometimes turbulent, but always responsive. When that weather turns stormy, you feel it not just in digestion, but in mood, in energy, in clarity. And so, tending your gut is not just about digestion. It is about calming the quiet brain that lives there. It is about honoring the nervous system you rarely think about, but always feel. Tonight, as your body settles into stillness, your second brain continues its work, sensing, adjusting, releasing slow waves through your intestines, preparing for rest. There is no rush in this system, no anxiety, just gentle movement, soft flow. And as you lie here, you may begin to notice the strange comfort of knowing you are more than thoughts. You are feeling. You are rhythm. You are response. You are not just a mind floating in a head. You are a mind woven through your body, especially in the quiet warmth of your gut. And now that you have heard its voice, you may wonder something new. What happens when that second brain begins to affect how you feel? Emotionally, not just physically? Could the moods you carry be shaped not by thoughts alone, but by the tiniest forms of life within you? You wake in the morning and feel it, not a thought, but a tone, a heaviness or a lightness, the pull toward silence, or a quiet hum of readiness. You call it a mood. But where does it begin? Not always in your mind. Sometimes it starts in the warmth of your gut, in a shift so small you do not notice until the day begins to carry it. This is not fantasy. This is chemistry. Your microbes make molecules that affect your state of being. They produce neurotransmitters, tiny chemical messengers that move between nerve cells, setting the emotional tone of your inner life. One of the most well-known is serotonin. It is often called the happiness molecule, though its role is more subtle than joy alone. It regulates sleep, appetite, pain perception, and mood stability. And where is most of your serotonin made? Not in your brain, in your gut. Nearly 90% of the body's serotonin is produced in the intestinal lining with the help of certain gut bacteria. These microbes interact with cells in the gut wall, nudging them to release this calming molecule, which then flows into your bloodstream or signals locally within the gut's own nervous system. Some of this serotonin travels upward, influencing brain function indirectly, through hormonal pathways, through the vagus nerve, through the quiet electric lines that tie belly to mind. But serotonin is just one voice in the microbial choir. Others produce GABA, a molecule that slows nerve activity, helping you feel calm, grounded, less likely to spiral in moments of stress. Some make dopamine, associated with pleasure and motivation. Others influence cortisol, the hormone of stress, either soothing its rise or amplifying its waves. It is a system of levers and whispers, not switches and sirens. No one molecule controls emotion, but together they shape how you greet the world and how the world feels inside you. This chemical dance is part of the gut-brain axis, the ongoing conversation between the microbiome and your nervous system. But there is more. Your microbes also influence inflammation, the body's response to injury, and sometimes to invisible stress. When the gut is inflamed, barriers weaken, signals become erratic, and the brain may respond with anxiety, low mood, Low-grade chronic inflammation has been linked to depression, and certain gut bacteria help prevent this by making anti-inflammatory compounds, by strengthening the gut lining, by keeping the immune system calm and wise. They are peacekeepers, and when they are missing, the mind may feel the tension. Studies have shown that transferring the gut microbes of an anxious mouse into a calm mouse can shift the calm mouse's behavior, making it more anxious. This is not about thoughts. It is about chemistry, the invisible molecules that move between body and mind, without ever needing words. In humans, the data is growing. People with depression often show reduced diversity in their microbiomes. Certain species are underrepresented, others are overactive. It is not yet clear whether the mood changes the microbes or the microbes shape the mood. The truth is likely both. A feedback loop, a conversation, and this opens a soft, surprising door. The idea that nurturing your gut might also nurture your mind, not through force, not through control, but through kindness, through rhythm, through nourishment. Fiber-rich foods feed microbes that produce calming molecules. Fermented foods bring new allies. Reducing processed sugars may starve the species that fuel inflammation, but it is not just what you eat, it is how you live. Chronic stress changes the gut's landscape. Sleep deprivation shifts microbial balance. Movement in nature, on the other hand, encourage microbial diversity. Even your emotions shape your inner ecosystem and are shaped by it in return. This is not to say that mood is only microbial. It is not. Your past, your relationships, your thoughts, your brain chemistry, they all matter deeply. But the gut is part of the story, a quiet partner in emotional life. When your belly is calm, your mind often follows. And when you feel unexplainable heaviness, unprovoked irritability, a fog you cannot name, you might consider that the root of your feeling is not always thought. It may be a message from the smallest life within you. There is comfort in this idea, because it means you are not broken. You are simply part of a larger conversation, and conversations can shift. Tonight, your microbes are speaking, not in language, but in the language beneath language, in molecules and memory. They do not promise happiness, but they do offer balance, the kind that lets your nervous system exhale, your thoughts settle, your heart soften. You are not alone in your feelings. They rise from many places, some of them so deep inside, they are not fully yours, but shared. And now, as you lie quietly, you may begin to wonder, if bacteria can shape mood, how else might they guide who you are? Could they even influence your sense of safety, of connection, of courage? In rooms filled with quiet hums and low fluorescent light, tiny lives are watched in silence. They do not know they are part of a question about emotion, memory, and identity. These lives belong to mice. They run through mazes, freeze when startled, sniff unfamiliar spaces, all the while carrying invisible passengers inside them. Scientists have long asked, where does fear live? Where does courage begin? What makes a creature curious or cautious? And slowly they have come to suspect that part of the answer may lie not in the mouse's brain, but in its belly. In one experiment, researchers took the gut bacteria from an anxious human and placed them into the gut of a germ-free mouse. A mouse raised in a sterile environment with no microbes of its own. The result? The mouse changed. Its behavior became more hesitant, its reactions more fearful. It explored less, froze more. The microbes carried emotion, not through thought, but through chemistry. In another lab, the opposite was done. Calm human microbes were given to an anxious mouse, and the mouse grew braver. Nothing else was changed. Not its brain, not its environment, only the world inside its gut. The mechanisms are many. Microbes influence inflammation, produce neurotransmitters, stimulate the vagus nerve. They tune the immune system, which itself can affect mental clarity and mood. It is not magic. It is a web of signals, slow, complex, yet deeply rooted in biology. And the mice are not alone. In human studies, researchers have found that taking certain probiotics can reduce feelings of anxiety in some people. But enough to notice, enough to keep studying. People who eat more fiber, more plant diversity, more fermented foods, they often report better moods. Not always joy, but steadiness. These are not cures. They are clues. In one study, volunteers ate a special yogurt, rich with live bacteria. Scans of their brains showed subtle but measurable changes in the way they processed emotion. They were less reactive to stress. Their brain circuits calmed faster. The gut was speaking, and the brain was listening. Not every study finds clear effects. Science is slow. Microbiomes are messy, unique to each person, shaped by childhood, by food, by place. But the trend is unmistakable. The microbes within us can shape how we feel. Still, a question remains. If bacteria can nudge us toward fear or calm, where does that leave free will? Are your moods your own? And also, they are shared. You are not controlled. You are in conversation. Imagine your microbes as background musicians, setting the tempo, offering a rhythm, but you still choose the dance. They do not decide for you. They color the room you move through. They whisper. You respond. And this dialogue is not fixed. It changes with your choices, with what you eat, how you sleep, whether you move or rest. It shifts with illness, with antibiotics, with time. Even connection changes it. Sharing a home, touching, laughing, sharing meals. These transfer microbes. As much as ideas, you are not sealed off from others. You are porous. You exchange invisible life. Every day, some scientists now wonder whether gut health could play a role in mental health treatment, as support, as prevention, as part of healing. Could a diet rich in diverse plants and fermented foods be as important to mood as therapy or rest? The research is young, but it echoes something ancient, the idea that healing is not just in the mind, but in the whole being. It does not replace emotion. It does not reduce sadness to bacteria, but it reminds us emotion lives in the body, and the body is not empty. It is alive with others. So when you feel anxious without cause, foggy for no reason, tired but not sleepy, it might not be just your thoughts. It might be a message from the garden within. Tonight, you lie here with the quiet knowledge that your emotions are not mysteries. They are signals, and they rise not from one place, but from many, including your smallest, oldest companions. As your breath slows, you picture a mouse running a tiny maze beneath soft lab lights, carrying someone else's microbes, and with them, a whole new feeling. And as your eyes begin to close, another question stirs gently. If these creatures affect our moods, can the way we feed them help us feel more grounded? You lift your fork, you choose a bite, and without knowing it, you cast a vote, not just for your hunger or your taste, but for the life that dwells within you. Because what you eat feeds more than your body. It feeds your microbes, and in turn, they feed you. They digest what you cannot. They break down fibers and starches that pass untouched through your small intestine, arriving in your colon like unsung treasure. Here, your microbes begin their feast. They ferment fibers into short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate, acetate, and propionate, molecules that soothe inflammation, protect the gut lining, and nourish the cells of your colon. But not all microbes eat the same things. Some thrive on diversity, on leafy greens and whole grains, on nuts and lentils. on onions and bananas, garlic and oats. Others, the ones that tip the balance toward inflammation, discomfort, and mental fog, prefer processed sugar, refined carbs, high-fat, low-fiber diets. When these are your staple foods, your microbial garden shifts. It becomes less diverse, more fragile, easier to tip toward imbalance. This is not about guilt. It is about listening. Imagine your gut as a forest. Each meal waters some species and starves others. The more diverse your diet, the more species thrive, and the more resilient your forest becomes. In one study, people who ate over 30 different plant foods per week had significantly more diverse microbiomes than those who ate 10 or fewer. 30 may sound like a lot, but it includes herbs and spices, nuts and seeds, beans, grains, fruits, vegetables. Every color on your plate brings a different fiber, a different compound, a different gift to the ecosystem within. Fermented foods, like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, miso, offer live microbes directly. They are not a cure-all, but they are companions. New settlers arriving with maps and tools to help restore harmony. Then there are prebiotics, fibers that specifically nourish good bacteria. Found in leeks, asparagus, apples, flax seeds, legumes. They are the slow-burning logs that keep the microbial fire glowing. You do not need perfection. You need rhythm. You need presence. Even small shifts, adding a handful of berries, a spoonful of beans, a sprinkle of seeds, can begin to change the conversation. Because food is not just fuel. It is information. Each bite tells your microbes what kind of world you live in, and they adjust their chemistry accordingly. If you feed them richness, they return it. If you feed them sameness, they reflect that too. They reward patterns, not extremes. They flourish with predictability, with steady meals, with calm digestion, fasting between meals, sleeping well, chewing slowly. These help set the pace of your microbial clock. And when you treat your gut with care, you often find that energy becomes steadier, moods soften, fog lifts. This is not about control. It is about collaboration. You are not at war with your body. You are in relationship with it. And your microbes, though you cannot see them, are always listening. Some people find that when they change how they eat, they change how they feel. Not overnight, but over days, weeks, months. The garden takes time to bloom. Some notice better sleep, clearer skin, lighter moods, less anxiety. Others simply feel more themselves. It is subtle, but powerful, because when the gut is at peace, so often the mind follows. And when you treat food as a conversation, not a transaction, your choices become invitations to healing, to calm, to presence. So tonight, as your body settles and the day's last meal has finished its journey, your microbes are at work, breaking down fiber, releasing tiny messages, nourishing your cells. You are feeding them, and they are feeding you. It is easy to forget that biology is this gentle, this reciprocal. You are not a machine to be fueled. You are a meadow to be tended. And as you breathe into this understanding, a gentle question arises. What happens when stress, sleep, and emotion begin to feed back into this garden? What happens when your inner forest responds not just to food, but to your feelings? Stress does not begin in the stomach, but it always seems to find its way there. The tightness of this, a sudden flutter. Your gut does not speak in sentences, but it feels the tension long before your thoughts catch up. It tightens in the face of worry. It stalls in grief. It churns when anxiety brews, as if it is trying to move emotions through. The only way it knows how, with rhythm, because the gut is rhythmic. Pulses, contracts, digests, absorbs, not randomly, but with an internal tempo, set by nerves and hormones. And yes, your microbes. When stress comes, that rhythm changes. It may quicken, it may slow, but it no longer flows. The vagus nerve, the bridge between gut and brain, carries messages in both directions. In calm, it hums with balance. In stress, it carries alarms. Stress tells your body to prepare for danger. Blood flows away from digestion. Inflammation rises. Tight junctions in the gut lining begin to loosen, and some of the microbial harmony begins to unravel. And your microbes, they feel it. Some retreat. Some grow in the shadows of imbalance. Some shift the signals they send. Certain bacteria flourish in high-stress environments, but they are not the ones that bring peace. They amplify inflammation, raise the volume of internal noise, and cloud the clarity you once felt from within. But then comes sleep, or at least the chance for it. Sleep is not just rest for the brain. It is restoration for the entire body. And your gut, though it never fully sleeps, uses the quiet hours to repair, to rebalance, to tend to its inner pathways. During restful nights, certain microbes become more active. They digest leftover fibers, build short-chain fatty acids, and send calming molecules up through the body. But when sleep is short, or broken, or restless, everything changes. The microbial composition shifts. Inflammatory species may grow. Metabolic signals become erratic. Blood sugar regulation worsens. And emotional resilience drops. It is a loop. Sleep affects microbes. Microbes affect mood. Mood affects sleep. Round and round. This loop is not a trap. It is a system. And like all systems, can be nudged, retuned, restored. Stress will come. That is the nature of being human. But how you move through it, how you care for your body in it, can shape how deeply it sinks in. Breathing slowly, walking in quiet light, eating calmly, sleeping deeply, these are not luxuries. They are instructions to the body. You are safe now. You can let go. And your microbes hear this too. When you are calm, your vagus nerve hums again. Your gut lining heals. Beneficial bacteria return. Inflammation softens. Moods settle. Clarity sharpens. Even laughter helps. Even sunlight. Even being near someone kind. These too ripple through your inner ecosystem. And so you begin to understand, your gut is not just shaped by what you eat. It is shaped by how you live. It responds to your pace, your worry, your rest, your joy. This is why stress management is not just emotional care. It is microbial care. Sleep is not just for energy. It is for balance. Because your microbes are not machines. They follow cycles. They feel seasons. They flourish in rhythm. And they falter in chaos. You are their clock. You set the tempo. With meals. With breath. With the hour your eyes close. And the moment your body says, I can let go now. So tonight, as the room darkens, and your thoughts grow slower, your microbes settle into their quiet work. Repairing. Listening. Shifting gently toward harmony. You are not doing this alone. You never have. Even your stillness is shared. And as you drift into that stillness now, a question curls like steam into your thoughts. If your microbes listen so closely, what kind of world are you building for them? In turn, what kind of world might they be building for you? You have been taught in small ways to think of yourself as a machine. Parts that work, parts that fail. Systems to optimize, outputs to improve. But you are not a machine. You are something much older, much softer, much more alive. You are an ecosystem, a layered, living world, full of cooperation and tension, growth and decay, cycles that pulse beneath your skin, whether you notice them or not. Your body holds more non-human cells than human ones, more microbial genes than human DNA. You are not one being. You are many, moving as one. You are a forest. And your microbes are not passengers. They are trees, soil, roots, rain. They are the creatures beneath leaves, the wind through the branches, the balance that keeps everything from falling. When you're well, it is because this forest hums. Each species, human and microbial, doing its part, sharing resources, speaking in signals, maintaining the peace. When you are unwell, it is often because something has shifted. A species has overgrown. A layer has thinned. The soil has lost its nutrients. And the whole system responds. It is not failure. It is imbalance. And balance can be restored, but not through force, not through fixing one part, while ignoring the whole. Healing comes through tending, through listening, through remembering that you are not a sum of parts, but a chorus of life. In nature, a healthy ecosystem is resilient. It bends but does not break. When one species disappears, others adapt. When storms come, new growth follows. Your body is the same. You are adaptable, resilient, made for change. And your microbes are part of that resilience. They adjust to what you feed them, how you rest, the environment you move through. They do not judge. They do not resist. They respond. If you eat diverse plants, they multiply in variety. If you walk in nature, breathe in unfamiliar air, they shift to reflect that experience. Even your relationships matter. Couples who live together begin to share similar microbiomes, not just from physical closeness, but from shared meals, routines, the quiet symphony of living side by side. You are not a closed loop. You are porous. You absorb the world, and you reflect it. And in that reflection, there is healing. Because healing is not always cure. It is connection. It is returning to rhythm. It is remembering that rest is not a pause. It is part of the song. Your emotions, too, belong here. They are not flaws in the system. They are part of how your body speaks. Sadness may be a signal. Fatigue, a message. Anxiety, a ripple of imbalance that asks to be noticed. These are not broken circuits. They are weather patterns. They pass. And beneath them, your ecosystem continues. It breathes with you. It breaks down food, repairs cells, sends messages to the mind that you are still here, still healing, still whole. You are not meant to run at one speed. Nature does not rush. It rests. It pulses. Your microbes understand this. They do not expect perfection. They expect rhythm. Feast and fast. Wake and sleep. Grow and pause. The problem is not that you have changed. It is that you have forgotten. That you were never one being to begin with. Tonight, you remember. You are a rainforest. On 2 feet. You are coralline cave, pathway and pulse. And just like the earth, your internal climate can shift. Through what you choose to nourish. Through how you sleep. Through how gently you speak to yourself. Even your thoughts are part of the ecosystem. Because when you believe you are broken, you treat yourself as something to fix. But when you know you are living, interwoven, teeming with quiet life, you begin to treat yourself with awe. And awe is the beginning of care. So lie still now. Feel your own breath. Know that within you, there are forests blooming, streams flowing, messages passing in silence. Between creatures too small to see, and systems too complex to name. You are not just alive. You are aliveness, gathered into form. And as you drift deeper into that knowing, one last question comes like a breeze. If this intelligence lives in your body, not just in your brain, how might you learn to listen to it? What might it be trying to say? If you finally became quiet enough to hear, you are quiet now. Your body rests, but inside you, life continues. Not in a rush, not in crisis, but in rhythm. The gut moves slowly in sleep. It does not stop. It hums like an old lullaby whispered into the dark. A lullaby you have always heard, even if you never knew it had a name. You have journeyed far, from forest floors of fiber, to the pulse of the vagus nerve, to molecules of mood and memory. But now you arrive not at an answer, but at something softer, kind of trust. Because your gut is not a puzzle to solve. It is not a problem to fix. It is not a device, or a tube, or a task. It is a living intelligence, older than your mind, deeper than your words. It listens to what you eat, to how you feel, to how you sleep and breathe and move. And it speaks, not with thoughts, but with sensations. The flutter before a choice, the twist of discomfort, the calm after clarity. You often say, "I feel it in my gut." And that is not metaphor. That is truth. Because your gut feels before you know. It gathers quiet data, from microbes, from nerves, from memory, and responds in waves. A softness in your belly, a turning inward, a sigh without reason. This is the body speaking. This is the gut thinking, in the only language it knows. Sensation. This is not logic. It is wisdom. You do not control it. You cooperate with it. You learn from it. Like a tide, it rises and falls. Like weather, it changes. Like a forest, it blooms and rests. And like a friend, it grows clearer the more you listen. So listen now. Listen not for instruction, but for rhythm. Not for answers, but for the texture of knowing. You may notice that certain foods make you feel steadier, that certain routines bring your breath home, that certain moments, sunlight on your skin, laughter in a quiet room, the single nourishing meal, bring calm not just to your mind, but to your belly. This is no coincidence. This is your gut responding. It notices the life you live, and it reflects it. So when it whispers discomfort, you can ask gently, what needs shifting? What am I holding, tensing, rushing through? And when it feels quiet and clear, you can breathe with it. You can say, thank you, keep going. Because this is the soft intelligence of your gut. It does not punish. It does not lie. It simply notices, and then it speaks. All you must do is listen, not with your ears, with your stillness, with your breath, with your willingness to believe that your body is not against you, it is you. You are not a head riding a body. You are not a mind trapped in a shell. You are a system of knowing, woven into skin and gut and breath. And at the center of that knowing is a garden of trillions of life forms, doing ancient work, just to keep you whole. They have no voice, but you have always felt them. They want balance, and rhythm, and time, and they will return to balance, again and again, if you give them the chance. So as you drift deeper now, as the world softens and your body quiets, you may feel them, not in sharp sensations, but in calm, in the peace that lives low in your belly. When everything feels right, even if you do not know why, that is your gut speaking. That is the voice you have always had. And you are finally beginning to hear it. Now let it speak to you. In silence, let it remind you that you are alive, that you are whole, that you are never alone. Because inside you, the oldest forms of life are still here, still working, still listening, still guiding you home.